If I could only have one or the other, I'd much rather have this than a box blade. But that doesn't mean a box blade doesn't have some advantages. So let's talk about it. Hey, it's Brock here with Rock Hill Farms, and today I'm going to fix some potholes in my driveway and spread a little bit of new stone in a couple of new areas of the driveway. And I'm going to be doing that with this new land plane. I've had this box blade for the last 4 years. I bought it with my tractor. I've used it a ton. I've probably brought in 500 or 600 tons of crushed stone since I bought this property. And I've got to know all the pros and cons of this. And I believe this land plane is going to do a much better job for doing this most of the same work. There are advantages to this that we'll get to later, but there's also a lot of advantages to this. Now, the specific land plane that I've got today is made by Artillion. Artillion is one of my favorite equipment manufacturers. They sponsored my YouTube channel when I first started out, and I've got basically everything they make. And for the last 4 years and 800 tractor hours, I've been abusing the Artillion equipment. I've yet to have a single thing break or bend or fail. That's because they overbuild their products. So real quick before we put it on the tractor, let me cover some of the potential reasons you might want a land plane instead of a box blade. So with the land plane, we've still got our rippers just like we do on the box blade, so we can break up the soil that way. The difference is it has 2 cutting edges that are on opposing angles, and those cutting edges aren't that tall. So with a box blade, when you fill it up, you're pulling a tremendous amount of material with you, and it becomes very heavy, and it's hard to control. You can't really feather your adjustments on a box blade that's got 1,000 pounds of rock inside of it. With the land plane and the shorter grader blades inside of it, that material spills over the top once it reaches a certain height. So it does a better job of just flattening. It's kind of like a box blade takes more skill, technique, and practice, where what people tell me about a land plane is you just drop it and drive, and after long enough and enough passes, you'll have a flat, smooth area. So we'll find out if that's true or not. So let's go take a look at the driveway. Okay, so I've come to the flattest place on the property, which is my driveway. And on this corner over here, I've got that back about 1/2 inch off the ground. The front is probably 6 inches off the ground. And if you look at it left to right, the back on that side is 1/2 inch off the ground, and on this side it's about 1.5 inches. So we're gonna see if we can level this out. So to level this box blade, I had to come up here to flat ground and then find a wrench big enough to take the nut loose. And then I couldn't turn it with it up in the air. So I had to use that wrench as leverage to force it to turn. And then I had to level it one way and then level it the other way. I had to center out the top link. It's like 15 minutes of manually working, which is why I think a top and tilt kit is the best thing that I've put on my tractor. It's just, you look behind you and you say, it doesn't look level, and you bump one lever and you bump the other one and you go, looks pretty level. Then you start dragging and you see if it's matching up with the grade you want, and if it's not, you just tweak it again. Top and tilt is phenomenal. You're talking about like $1,000 to get 2 cylinders and the hoses, and you have to have third function hydraulics or hydraulic rear remotes. So overall, it may add $2,000 to the cost of your tractor. But when you're talking about a $30,000 tractor, I feel like it transforms the capability of the machine to spend $2,000 on those features, maybe instead of some other stuff that you don't need. Right now, with these rippers all the way up, they are right at ground level. They're at the exact same height as the blades. And you could just use it like that, I suppose. That you would just disturb the ground in front of it a little bit. but that's not what I'm looking to do. What I want to do right now is rip it up. So I'm going to drop these down. Looks like they've got 4 holes. I'm going to drop it down 2 holes so that the rippers are contacting first. Might go all the way down and just rip up those 2 problem areas. Then I'll flip the rippers completely upside down so they're not affecting anything, and just do a bunch of leveling. When I first moved here, the first time we had any washouts in the driveway, I ripped up every bit of rock on the property with the rippers, loosened everything, and then smoothed it all back in again, and that was the wrong way to do it. It doesn't make sense. We've got all this rock all over the property, and 95% of it is perfect. It drains well, the driveway's raised, it's got a crown to it. Most of it can just be left alone. But these spots need to be ripped up. And I found out also quickly that you can't just go grab a little bit of loose rock and dump in here. It'll wash out real quick. Okay, a couple things about the setup on this. One is a suggestion for Artillion. I like flipping these upside down where they don't touch at all. If you see here, I've got this one upside down. I can't put this one upside down because there's nowhere for it to go in from the top. So they need to cut a hole right here for that to slide in through. The other thing is that we've got a lot of slop in the top pin. It has the right size bushings on the lower pins, but what it came with was a little undersized for my quick hitch. And so I'm going to put a bigger bushing on this, because what's happening is when it sets on the ground, it's no longer level. I had it level, and when it sets down, it tips back a little bit with the play in this bushing. So I either need to adjust out the top length to level it out, or put in a bigger bushing, and I think I'll go with the bushing. So one of the biggest frustrations with making YouTube videos like this are the negative comments from people calling you an idiot or things like that. But one of the best things is when you do a project to solve a problem and people come on and say, that'll never work, you're doing it wrong, all this stuff. And then a few years later, you can follow up and see, like when we moved here, this driveway right here would wash out all the time. Water would come off the roof, down the drains, run down to here, run across the driveway, and wash all this out. I put a drain across the end of the concrete. Everyone said I was doing it wrong. No more washouts. Problem solved. Same thing up the hill. I did this. I've got 2 other places where I had a problem and I fixed it. Never had a problem again. So yesterday I spread a bunch of stone over here. I'm expanding my footprint and making it where everywhere that I regularly drive has rock, so that I'm not making as many tracks and getting everything muddy. So the problem I had is we have like a probably 7 or 8 foot elevation change from where I'm standing to up there. And I was trying to take rock and carry some in the bucket and some in the box blade. And I was trying to drag rock up this hill around this curve. And no matter what I tried to do, even if I tried to have a lighter touch with the box blade, it would not pull rock and turn up this corner. I should be able to pull up that. And I also think that because there's less drag on the land plane, you could use a wider land plane and make less passes. But let's find out. no questions asked, this is more user-friendly and easier than a box blade. If I could have one or the other, I'm taking this. So wherever you make your last pass, you leave a ridge on the right side and the left side where a little bit of rock trails out the sides. And that's not a big thing because your next pass takes that ridge off. But your last pass of the day, you're gonna have that. But I literally think that little crown of stone, if I just drive the tires right over it with the land plane up in the air, that'll be gone. So the advantage to the land plane is basically that it doesn't drag all that material with you. So what would be the advantage to a box blade? Well, what if you want to move all that material with you? So if you have a lot of material on that side of the pad you're clearing and you want to bring it over to the low side, the box blade can be used like scooping up a load of dirt with the bucket and just drag it over there and release it and then smooth out. You can't really move a bunch of material with a land plane. So I think those are the pros and cons. I think I should have got a land plane a long time ago. It's a fantastic attachment. I appreciate Artillion sending that out. I appreciate you watching the video. I'll put links on the screen to a couple more of our videos, and I'll see you next time.